So boys, I went to Disneyland. Wait, I'm not done. I went to Disneyland for the first time since I was like fucking 15.
Oh, wow.
Even during the pandemic?
Yeah, it's open now.
I know it's open, but like...
At heavy air quotes, lowered capacity, even though every line was at least an hour long.
Well, to be fair...
I mean, they used to be 3 hours long.
Yeah, they used to be 3 hours long.
Fucking, why does anyone go to Disney? I want to preface this, by the way. I hate amusement parks. I hate them so much. I don't like going to them. I had a good enough time, but ever since I was a kid, I was diagnosed with something called Achilles tendonitis. Essentially, the heel bone, the bone that is your heel, the tendon that connects it to your foot and leg,
inflamed.
It gets inflamed because as you walk, essentially how my foot is pressing onto the floor, it's constantly pushing my foot and that bone away from each other. So the tendon is constantly under stress. And that's Achilles tendonitis. But because it never got like fixed, it's probably tendinosis. And I think there's a third one that I can't remember what it was called, but it's probably that one where it's just like, it's just in a permanent state of inflamed. So if I walk for too long, my feet are just in excruciating pain. And I can handle it. It's fine. I'm a little bitch about it on the inside, but on the outside, I'm like, hey, I'm gonna sit down for a second. And I sit down for a second. I'm like, all right, good to go. And so that was basically my whole trip to Disney.
Why did you go?
Our friend who you guys I think have met like once or twice. His name is Evan. Online, he's Endo.
Okay.
Evan lives on the East Coast, and he came to visit us recently, out in California. And so we did California things. So we took him to California Adventure was one of the things.
But not Disneyland?
No, we actually got the park hopper. But, because it's California Adventure. But we were there for a while. And I remember our first thought was the Avengers campus just opened, right? And I had no fucking idea what it was. I was like, yeah, it's an Avengers part of the park, but does it have like rides and shit? Didn't know what it was. He didn't know what it was. My girlfriend Meg didn't know what it was. So we were like, we're just going to go there first. I remember on the drive over, my girlfriend Meg, she was saying like, oh, I really want to go on the Tower of Terror because like, I really, really like that ride. And we were like, okay, cool. We'll go to the Marvel campus first, and then we'll go to Tower of Terror. That'll be like the first two steps. We go to the Marvel campus. The only real ride there that we went on was it was Guardians of the Galaxy. I think it was called Breakout, where it was as if the Guardians of the Galaxy got captured by the Collector and they were being busted out of his like holding area. And so the line was super cool. It was one of those things. I love this new trend with roller coasters and stuff where the line is its own like thing.
Right.
So we got like a tour of his office and some of his collection. It was kind of neat. But we get on the ride and it's essentially, there's a screen in front of you because it's one of those, but you are on this cart that goes like up and down and it like free fall drops and like shoots up and then free fall drops and that kind of thing. And we're like, well, that was really, that was like really fun and neat. Like the line was really cool too. And we were like, it really reminds me of the Tower of Terror. Speaking of which, let's go to it. And we pull up the map and we're like, oh, that was the Tower of Terror. It got rebranded to this.
Such a shame.
And it took us a while to be like, where the fuck is it? We're all looking at the maps on our phones like, where the hell is Tower of Terror?
I'm honestly surprised you looked at that ride and went, that looks nothing like the Tower of Terror.
I thought it did, but I, again, hadn't been there for like a fucking decade.
I'm also more shocked that this was new information.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Apparently neither did I.
Because you were telling me the story and Meg was like, I really want to go on the Tower of Terror. I like how I just said that as if this was a story previously 30 seconds ago when you said that. And I was like, she is going to be sorely disappointed in that.
Yeah, well, it turns out. Now, what I was not sorely disappointed in was the Star Wars area. I was downright giddy walking around the Star Wars area.
Did you build a lightsaber?
I did not, because it's very expensive.
It really is.
I asked him the same thing when he told me.
I do want to do that, but it's very expensive.
It's expensive, but it sounds like it's worth it.
It's like, if you have $230 to spare, yeah, it is worth it. If you don't, do not spend that level of money.
Yeah, and that's pretty much where I was at.
Because have I ever told that story?
Yes.
On this podcast?
Yes, you did.
Okay, good. Because I was about to tell it again. It's a great story. And I was just waiting for everyone to be like, oh yeah, we've heard this one, don't we?
No, great story. Speaking of which, I even brought you a Sprite.
I appreciate that.
So you can get your credit card declined again.
Oh, please do. Please do. And you know what? That was the most frustrating part of that, as me just being like, look, it sucks that I can't build a lightsaber. More importantly, I don't have any money for food or anything like that here.
Yeah, that was going to be the real rub.
And because literally when I went to Star Wars Land, have you been since?
I haven't been to Disneyland since I was 8.
So cool.
My family, like we have people who come from England. So in a lot of situations, does someone from England come over and they're like, let's take them to Disneyland. That's what you do. Very similar to your story. But at a certain point, like, it just was like, hey, Jeremy, everyone's going to Disneyland. It's free. You know, we'll pay for it. Do you want to go? And I'm like, yeah, of course I want to fucking go. Like, are you kidding me? And last time we went, it was like, yeah, like we stayed in the hotel. So we got to be there an hour early. And I spent all that time stressing the fuck out about getting to Star Wars Land so that I would make that fucking lightsaber appointment. But, that's just like, I wouldn't be going to Disneyland this often, but people are like, hey, Jeremy, it's free. You want to come? I'm like, yeah.
Honestly, if I was offered the ticket, I'd be like, sure.
Yeah.
But I know I'd be bitchy by the end of it. But I do want to say the Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run ride is quite possibly the coolest shit I've ever done.
What position were you?
I was a pilot.
Which one?
I was left pilot, the not cool pilot.
Yeah, I was right pilot.
Right pilot seemed to be a lot cooler.
I will tell you, right pilot is the most fucking confusing thing, because that entire time was like ping-ponging the ship back and forth, being like, I don't.
Were you up-down pilot or left-right pilot?
I was definitely right pilit, so that's
up-down pilot. Yeah, I was left-right pilot. Meg was up-down pilot, and she.
What was Evan?
He was on guns.
Okay, what the fuck do they do?
They just aim and shoot.
Okay.
Yeah, very simple. I don't know what engineering did. That was a pug.
I think they are a quick time event where like you are just hitting buttons as they're lighting up on the.
See, left-right pilot goes left. Sometimes they go right, and one single time I had to press a button. I had what I believe was the lamest job on it, and I had a fucking stellar time.
To be fair, right pilot is the exact same thing, except you occasionally get to pull a lever.
Now I want to talk about that, because the pull the lever is the jump to light speed, and I remember it was because it's Hondo Anaka who is like running it, who's a Star Wars character.
Yeah,
and he tells us to jump to light speed, and I see it light up, and I look at Meg, fucking starry-eyed, because she doesn't really give a shit about Star Wars, but it's like, she gets to jump to light speed, and she does it, and we were all just like, that's the coolest shit ever. And then it got to a point where we were running away from fighters, and the thing lit up again, which was indicating like, do this thing, which was jump to light speed, and she wasn't noticing it. And I look at her, I'm like, I'm sorry, I have to do it once. And I reached over and pulled it myself, and it felt amazing.
I honestly, if the point there is like, I can't believe she didn't notice it.
She was. Yeah.
When I was on that ride, literally my first thought was, if you didn't know that was the light speed like lever, I don't know if it's immediately obvious that you're supposed to pull it, because there's a bunch of flashing lights all over the ship.
Which is why I think at the beginning, everything goes dark, it blinks that, and Hondo says to do it. So you're supposed to know how to do it. But like, it's so fucking hectic. What are you going to do?
That's right. Yeah, sorry. I only remember the second time. You're right. In the very beginning, that was what I thought would have been the first.
Yeah, you do it twice. Meg did admit afterward, because I was a pretty good fucking left-right pilot. That's all I'm going to say.
I was an awful up-down pilot.
We kept bouncing off the floor, and I kept yelling because it's loud. Not like, you dumbass, but it's loud. I was like, Meg, up! Dear God, go up! Please go up! By the end of it, she was like, they told me what direction was up and which direction was down at the beginning, and I forgot immediately.
Yeah, here's the thing. That was my concern with it. They are inverted.
Yes.
And also the up. So like I am right now going to do something that's worthless for the audio. But I'm holding a Sprite can at a 90 degree as if it's placed on the table. And I'm going to tilt it 15 degrees forward. That is fucking floor it into the ground. Like fucking crash this bad boy into the ground. Like it goes like fucking 90 degrees, which I assume is only for fun. Because it literally, you're just like, it's like balancing a fucking toothpick on top of a little...
Left, right did the same thing, but I only had to go like...
Yeah, I didn't know that. So our ship is literally like ding, 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 Like the game is based on you get a score at the end, and I literally at the end Honda was like, "You fucking dumbass."
Yeah, we got a similar score.
See, I've never been. I don't know if I ever will go, to be honest, because Disneyland it's the fucking worst. Yeah, it's the fucking worst.
Sucks.
I'm a Six Flags boy all the way.
I'm apparently in the minority in this group. That's so weird.
Well, I don't like any amusement park.
That's fair.
Yeah. But that sounds fucking rad, and I would be terrible at it.
Oh, dude, it was so cool. I want to just do it like 6 or 7 times until we get like a really good score.
So I went with my family, and there was quite a large amount of people there. I was with my cousin and a member of my family that I do not know how I'm related to. Because like when people come over from England, they're like, yeah, it's basically your grandmother's aunt's like lineage, like so they're like your grandmother's aunt would be this like second generation person. They're like 59, and I'm like, I'll just assume that they're someone in my family. Like don't
like, what's up, cousin?
And we get on the ride, and I learned something about this the other day because I was watching the Star Wars, the Star Tours. Disney Plus is like, hey, do you want an ad for 30 minutes on different rides? Here's a show about how we make them. And I'm like, I fucking love watching behind the scenes.
It's a really cool series.
And they are talking about that, and they come up with the idea that something I didn't even realize. I didn't even think about it, but when you enter into the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon, you're actually on like a lazy Susan.
Mm-hmm.
And so your ship is like rotating with like 5 other ships on this lazy Susan, like as if, if you imagine you're like a slice of pizza and you pull them all out to the edge of the plate. And so as you're doing the whole ride, the entire plate is rotating. And when you get off, you're just getting off on an identical hallway somewhere else. And it's to get rid of the idea of like, you don't have to walk past the line that was behind you.
Mm-hmm.
They can also do like 4 or 5 things at the same time. Never noticed that. But when we went in, there's a point where you are given you're sitting in like the Millennium Falcon, like
the crew quarters.
Yeah. And there's the bench where they play the space
alien
chess.
Yeah. Which I sat on and was very happy.
And they hand out all your roles, and you get them on a card.
Oh, we didn't get cards. They was like, you're the pilot.
Really?
You're the gunner, I guess.
Okay, so maybe they just gave this up because when we went in, they literally handed all 6 people a card that had their identification on. And when you walked into the ride, you handed in, it'd be like pilots first, and you'd be like, here's my ID for a pilot. Meaning that
I assume part of ours was because of COVID.
Oh, that could be, yeah. Or like a lot of things, they were like, we are not going to constantly pay to print out these little pieces of paper. Because we didn't get to keep them. We had to hand them back in. So, But I'm talking with my cousin, and she's like, yeah, I got pilot as left pilot. And my like space aunt was also right pilot. And she's like, what are you? And I'm like, oh, I'm gunner. And she's like, oh, I wonder what I am. And I'm like, you're actually holding the thing there that says you're a pilot. And she goes, oh, not me. I'm like, and I'm like, yeah, no, you're going to be a pilot. She said, nah, not that. She literally pulled the gunner position out of my hand and handed me pilot. And I was like, look,
I'm not qualified to be a pilot.
It really is a thing of like, when
I went to gunner school.
When you are like, when I'm with my family, especially like my extended cousins, like it's a worthless endeavor to be like, I know more about Star Wars than you, so I'm going to correct you anytime you're slightly wrong about Star Wars. Because, like, who gives a shit? Like, if someone's not that... Like, here's the thing. I know for a fact my cousins have not seen Star Wars. And they're like, hey, Jeremy, is that weird? I'm like, no, it's not. Because, like, I'm not a fucking nerd. Like, I don't give a shit. I'm not like a fucking stereotypical dude. It's like, actually... So I got into that seat, and just to think, I was like, I am a pilot. Like, I wasn't going to fight anyone over any rules. I was get whatever rules we had, because I was like, they haven't been on this either. We're all here to have fun. But they handed me that, and I was like, fuck yeah! Woo! Woo! But in my head, I was doing that, and I was like, oh, thank you very much.
Dude, when I was saying they were like, you guys are going to be the pilots, and I pointed to me and Meg, I was like,
I could barely drive a car. Don't hand me the pilot position.
Especially, literally, I just want them to be like, nerf the scale at which you fucking turn. Make it a slog of movement.
Because it really feels like it should be, right? like,
because you're like, oh, I'm flying a big ship. I turn it all the way. I'm gonna, but no, it's really like, hey, you want to be just smashed inside of a wall? Want to see me do it again?
Want to see me do it 60 or 70 more times?
Welcome to Crack Open a Cryptid. I'm your third host, Jeremy Savage Tate.
Why do you get to be the third host?
Because I sit in the third chair.
That's a good point. I'm Tyler Shively.
The first host.
Sick.
I'm Adrian Castro.
The second host. Or the 0th host, if you want to go.
Well, then who's the second host?
There is no second host.
Is our Pleiadian friend?
Yes.
The one who sits in the corner?
This one right here.
You stole his chair, though, so now he has to stand.
That just reminded me of that line from Harley Quinn where Harley shows up to basically meet the new Legion of Doom, and they're like, all right, we're going to split Gotham into all these different sections, and they're like, this is Penguin Town, and this is Mr. Freesburg. And Bane is just sitting there, like, we had time to make an entire banner, but I don't even get a fucking chair.
I've not seen that show, but it seems very good.
Great.
Yeah, all right.
God.
What's it on? Like what
HBO.
kind of- Okay.
It's
Shit, I don't have HBO.
All of DC is on HBO, man.
yeah,
Is that it?
they
Yeah, okay.
combined their streaming service with
It's like the one I don't have.
I'll give you my password. later.
Yo, huge.
yeah. Oh, so that makes sense. If you don't have that, that makes sense why you want to see Suicide Squad.
Yeah,
in
we were
theaters.
talking about seeing Suicide Squad in theaters.
We still can. I don't have anything to do for
Yeah,
the next.
I'd be happy
3
to.
days.
I don't want to go pay for something I have already.
Which is fair.
It's
Do
a
they not do
different
the Disney
experience,
Plus
though.
thing where like you pay for the subscription?
No, it's
and also have to pay
completely
for-
free.
Wow.
It is
What
free
a
on
fucking
top
concept.
of
It's what it totally ruined In the Heights' box office numbers, and it might ruin Dune's box office numbers, which I really hope doesn't.
Also
happen.
streaming?
I would like to also
That's-
point out that
It
the
should
box
be the
office
same
numbers
number.
don't matter if you're measuring it on a different.
But by like gross domestic profit, basically.
Yeah, like if it ruined the Heights box office numbers, that's only the theaters that aren't making money off of that.
Mm-hmm.
They're
I think people are stupid though, and they look at that number and it's like, well, people didn't go to see it, so it can't be good.
right.
Yeah,
Or at least that's the fear.
Did you guys watch In the Heights?
I watched it like 5
Sorry,
times.
I mean in theaters.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
went together.
I watched
because
it like
when you
5
guys
times in
asked
theater.
me to do that, I was just like, it's already on. It's on HBO.
I didn't know
Like,
that
yeah.
actually.
Yeah, I watched it in IMAX. I watched it like in 3 different theaters.
He's a freak. He sees every movie he likes like 8 times. I saw it once in theaters on a regular screen.
I accidentally watched Infinity War 4 times within the first week, and I kid you not, it was not intentional.
I remember one time you invited me and you're like, this is like the 3rd time I'm seeing it. You want to just like come because I know you've seen it already? And I was like, no, I'm good.
No, I do that with every movie. I already know when Dune comes out, I'm watching that thing like 10 times.
I believe you texted me at about 4 a.m. one day saying, hey, the release date for Dune was announced and I'm going to drag you to the movie theater on day 1. And I
Yeah.
was like, okay.
That's also on HBO.
It is going to be on
Here's the
HBO.
thing: if you're like, I want the cinematic experience, like, yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. You probably don't live in a house with a home theater, but
I just want popcorn.
you can literally buy that at any store.
Yeah, but I want that popcorn.
Yeah.
I don't want to make the popcorn.
Here's the thing: this is an industry secret that I learned about. There's a powder called Flavor Call.
Yes.
That is what makes movie popcorn taste the way it does.
Yeah, but see, I could just get that powder because it's actually not that expensive, and I could put that on all my popcorn that I make. But the difference is,
That
I
you
didn't
made it.
get somebody who is a wage slave to make it for me.
You can pay someone practically no money to come into your house.
Yeah,
and-
but I could also go to a movie theater
where
and
they
be
already
like,
have the wage slaves.
exactly. I don't want employees.
Well, actually, that's a good point because I've only ever gone to Chili's just to make you do things.
And then you tip my
boy.
friend so well that literally every time we worked together, he asked if you were coming in.
Yeah, it's called being a gangster. I don't know what to tell you. Like, that's just how cool I am. That's people who don't even know me. Like, is Jeremy coming today?
It was infuriating. Adrian, what's your topic today?
Skinwalkers.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I kind of know.
You know stuff about Skinwalkers?
I just know there's a lot
I
about
don't know if I know
Skinwalkers.
it.
There is. I'm only going to do the surface level stuff
Good,
because
we'd be here
it's-
for 3 hours.
Yeah, no, Skinwalkers, it's okay.
like
Basically what it is, it's a Native American legend.
Oh,
That,
shit. Yes, okay.
yeah, it takes various forms across different tribes. So Native American heritage or like legends and stuff, They usually differ by each tribe, like all of their like gods, all of their like mythology. It's different for each tribe because, you know, these are people that were separated by miles and miles of land. But the one thing that most Native American cultures do have in common is the mythology of skinwalkers.
Are Wendigos in this category, or are they separate?
No.
Okay.
Well, the Wendigo is one. I think it's one like entity.
I could literally do an episode of Wendigos like right now.
Wendigos are like, I believe skinwalkers. You choose to become a skinwalker.
Okay.
Wendigo, you do not.
Yeah.
But it is a similar cryptid.
Yeah, okay. I was just because I knew that they fell into. I wasn't sure if they were.
Well,
if it was a Sasquatch-like term.
Yeah. I believe the main difference is Wendigo are feral, and they eat people, whereas skinwalkers are conscious, like beings.
Yes, exactly that.
Okay, I'm excited. I've never
I didn't go too much into Wendigo lore because
different creature.
Which, by the way, Native American folklore is fascinating.
Yes. Oh my god.
I have an entire book. It's a thick ass book, all about Native American legends.
It sounds like a thick ass book.
Oh, dude, it's actually part of that collection that I collect.
Jesus, Jeremy, can you like adjust your mic before the episode starts? You fucking freak.
You're just jealous that people at Chili's enjoy my presence.
I don't even work there anymore.
Yeah, I bet they're even more excited for me to show up. They're like, Jesus Christ, you will fix the wage issues from this pandemic. And
which, by the way, the last time we went out, I gave a generous tip. I didn't realize how much of a generous tipper you were until Tyler told me.
Oh my god, the dude, like, I've seen you tip upwards of like 40%. It's not normal, but I've seen you do it.
I mean, I have done that before. I think it was a very large amount, but I don't think it was 40%. It might have been 25%.
Which is still higher than the average.
Well, yeah, it was, but it was also, in my defense, a joke. Like,
I don't think he cares.
Yeah, I know, but it was in the context of the story. My friend Nick said, "I'm gonna pay 15%," and I said, "15%? That's a bit low." And he says, "Fine, 20." And I said, "Yeah, that's a bit low." And he's like, "What do you want me to do, 25?" And I said, "No, because I'm doing 25."
Also, as someone who was the wage slave for the food industry, the 15% tip is a very outdated idea. The current minimum tip that people expect are a 20% tip. And I say this well and good knowing that tipping culture is fucking stupid. But for the record, it's 20 and not 15.
I thought it was 18.
18, because people try to find... Older generations think it's 15. Younger generations think it's 20. Yeah. That's the middle ground.
I once gave 120% tip.
I know this story.
You want to know why?
I think I know this story, but
I was at a Denny's and I literally
tipped like a quarter by accident.
Oh no, sorry, that is a totally unrelated story. We were just hanging out. It was my friend Nick. Still, we were there at like 3 a.m. and the waitress came by and was like, "Hey, so what do you guys want to order?" And I was like, "I'm so sorry, miss. I have literally not opened the menu." And this happened for like a half hour. Like she kept coming back and be like, "You guys want to order anything?" And I'm like, we're in a really heated discussion right now. I really do apologize, but we will get there. Yeah, it got to the point where I was just like, hey, this waitress has literally probably added more to her steps today, just trying to get to our table, just to figure out what we want to eat, than the average person does. Let's do something about that. And it was like $40, and I was like, here's $80.
Oh my god, Jeremy.
That's a gangster ass move, though.
You know, you're not wrong.
Yeah. All right, so skinwalkers.
Yeah, tell me what's skinwalker.
What's a skinwalker?
I'm done jerking myself off. We can go to the skinwalkers.
So in Navajo lore, a skinwalker, or and I'm gonna butcher this, Yinaldushi, I think.
Okay. Yinaldushi. I think I've heard the term at the very least.
Yeah, I don't know. So it's a kind of wicked sorcerer who can transform into, occupy, or disguise themselves as an animal. So the myth behind the shape-shifting being known as a skinwalker has mostly been consigned to the land of either hoax or too much peyote. Or simply just, it's an oral tradition that it's a legend. It's an urban legend. The skinwalker, though, has deep roots in Aboriginal American folklore. Like I said, there are multiple tribes that have the same lore, and multiple tribes that in recent years have come out and said, no, yeah, it's real. The Skinwalkers are an actual thing. So, what is...
Hit X. To doubt.
Yeah, no, I got it.
Just making sure, because nobody found that hilarious joke as funny as...
I do want to toss out in the bit of a lull here. I am under the impression that the term Navajo is not a okay term anymore because it essentially translates to dirty person.
Is it?
True?
They prefer to be called the Dene.
I didn't know that.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
It's something like it translates to just like a not nice thing. So they call themselves the Dene.
Okay, well, we're going to offend a bunch of Americans.
I'm sure that is
Native
true.
Americans.
It's kind of hard not to.
Yeah.
But hey, you're from a Native American.
Well, Native Mexican.
Yeah,
Yes.
but that's part
still
of America.
Oh, I mean,
Why are we the ones saying this?
that's true.
You're
It's
like,
that- it's
I
that
know
white
nothing
guilt.
about these.
We got that white guilt, Jeremy. Trying to be like, I'm sorry, Adrian, but you're actually a little more exotic than you think you are.
So, some customs hold tight to the belief that skinwalkers are produced when a medicine man abuses magic for evil.
How could you not?
Right? When they corrupt the natural order of things. The medicine man, now an entity of evil, essentially becomes a Sith Lord.
Are you fucking telling me that this is just like the Oathbreaker Paladin?
Essentially, yes.
When you say Sith Lord, is that like used in the?
So, like, the term Sith Lord was actually used in the, I think it was a New York Journal article.
Oh, okay.
that I
So
looked
they,
up on
they
this.
were using it as a comparison.
They were using it as a
I was
comparison.
gonna say it's like,
But
is
I
that
also
where that
really
comes from?
want it to be true.
It's
like, there
basically
are
just-
actual Sith Lords.
Yeah, it's just a cleric who's like, well, what if I was spooky?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I know my next D&D character, Jeremy. Like,
The cleric that's spooky.
yeah, I'm going to
Yeah.
roll a spooky cleric.
It sounded like a lich or like some of that,
Yeah.
which is basically.
What's the new
Kind
undead
of.
race in Unearthed Arcana? You were just telling me about this.
There's the Hexblood, the Reborn, or the Dampires.
All right, I'll be a Dampire cleric,
Okay.
if you don't mind.
God. So each Sith Lord, which is what I'm going to be calling it from now on.
I'm sure that
Yeah, that'll track well.
yeah,
Yeah.
everyone's gonna be really big fan of that.
So he or she is
Ooh,
given.
inclusive.
Yeah, so they're given different powers depending on whatever way their spirit was polluted. They differ from tradition to tradition.
Fucking, who knew Kodor ripped off Native American legend?
So the few things the malicious transformation does have in common throughout all the tribes is that the Sith Lords now command over another beast, their ability to turn into different animals, and their capacity to possess other people within their tribe.
So I guess it's more of a druid.
It's more of a druid.
Well, because medicine men were like, hey, I actually know basic medicine based on I know how plants work.
Mm-hmm.
So what was the evil thing they were doing? It's like I took a willow tree and I cut it down.
We will get into it.
Yeah, okay.
in a
I was
sec.
curious if you wrote down because I do vaguely remember some of the heinous acts that
Yes.
let you become a skinwalker.
Yeah. So, a person, man, woman, or child becomes a skinwalker when they perform any kind of deep-seated taboo similar to the Wendigo curse.
Yeah.
So, in order to become a skinwalker, one must be initiated by a secret society that requires the evilest of deeds. Like the killing of a close family member, most often a sibling.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
After this task has been completed, the individual then acquires supernatural powers, which gives them the ability to shapeshift into animals.
Are you going to talk about the other ways you can become one?
No, because that's all
Okay.
I can find.
So, from my understanding,
Mhm.
from when I read about these like a while ago, there are a few ways to please the Dark Lords. One of them is killing a family member, usually a sibling. A different one is committing necrophilia, and another one is committing incest. And if you want to be the evilest of boys, you kill a sibling and then commit necrophilia with their corpse.
Could fuck them first, and then you'd have three things.
Well, because you'd be fucking your sibling's corpse, so I think that already gets all three.
I think that covered, yeah.
But that does feel a bit weird that necrophilia is also considered incest. If the
well, I mean, if they're your sibling, it's the cadaver of your sibling.
It just feels like it overpowers the thing. It's like,
look, buddy, I'm not claiming to know what the Dark Council wants.
I'm just saying. Imagine you're making a soup.
I don't trust your analogies today.
hang on, I want to hear this. Go ahead.
Imagine you're making a soup.
Uh-huh.
It's a tomato-based soup.
Sure.
It's got a certain flavor, and you pour fucking gasoline in it. Is it really like a tomato soup at that point? Are you really tasting the tomato flavors? So it can be set on fire. It just feels like if you ate the tomato soup first and then added gasoline by drinking
what's the phrase where it's like if you have 10 gallons of ice cream and add 1 gallon of shit, you just have 10 gallons of shit?
That I didn't know about that.
It's something
Someone
like that.
bring that up with the Skin Changers because
the Skin Changers. You call them the Skin Changers.
What's the name?
Skinwalkers.
Oh, get fucked. This is. I'm not gonna stand. I'm not gonna get murdered by a skinwalker because I accidentally said their name wrong.
No, you're gonna get killed by a skin changer and then they're gonna fuck you. I guess they don't have to after they're a skinwalker.
I guess not. By the way, I do remember reading that in the same article, but I purposefully left it out.
Oh, absolutely not. It's fucking weird.
Out?
Huh?
Why'd you leave that out?
Because I didn't think
you didn't want people to accidentally become a skin changer.
No.
Yeah, because if you can become a skinwalker by fucking your sibling, then there's a lot of people on Pornhub who are definitely skinwalkers now.
Well, do you think that in like an Oedipus situation where you don't realize what's going on and then suddenly you're like, wait a minute.
I feel like intent would be important for the Dark Council.
Here's the thing though. Does doing an evil act unintentionally make you an okay person?
It depends. Are we talking about the law or are we talking about
Just like
the
in general.
Dark Council of Skinwalkers?
But to become one, you have to be initiated by a secret society.
Yeah, and I think if you did it by accident and went to the secret society and was like, accidentally fucked my sister, can I be a skinwalker now? Be like, no, fuck you. But if you were like, I intentionally fucked my sister, I'd be like,
it also feels like that. It feels like
I love when you can see the gears turning in his head.
I'm just sitting here thinking,
you can watch him buffer
how
in real time.
amazingly like when you kill a family member, that puts a like your life, you don't have that family member, you're sacrificing a lot more. You fuck a corpse and now you're just like, yeah, like it was kind of gross. Like I don't feel like this is the same level of, because if there was like you fuck a corpse and your dick gets ripped off.
Yeah, first of all, kind of gross. Yeah. I want to reword that. But I do sort of get what you're saying where one has like a very lasting difference.
Yeah.
But I think
it's like if I was going to become one, fuck a corpse any day of the week. Like, you fucking kidding me? They're like, you get magic powers. Which 3 do you want? I'm like, well, the corpse one is by far the easiest.
So while Adrian chokes to death.
It's like someone said, hey man, what do you want? To eat this fruit roll up or to like fucking behead this guy out back? It's like, all right, yeah, fruit roll up it is.
Bro, I think you need to stop talking. Oh my fucking God. So I do want to say, I believe if you're appealing to a dark council of Native American wizards to become a dog man, you're not really sticking around to talk to your family much after that, because I feel like it would have an equal lasting consequence as fucking the corpse, because you don't care anymore.
Well, you see, you say that, but
you can pay.
You're not a Dark Lord all year.
You can't hit me with a you say that after you just compared fucking a corpse to eating a fruit roll.
Here's the thing. It's not because I find fucking a corpse okay. It's because fruit roll-ups are fucking shit.
I think we're just going to have to cut Jeremy completely out of this episode.
The world needs to know, Adrian. Here's the thing, and I will stand by this. If you're gonna become an evil person, do the fucking easiest task.
But the thing is, I think they're all equal in the terms of someone who's like, I'm going to leave and go be a wolf now.
Well, yeah, but okay, here's the thing. Imagine you're in a situation where you're an only child and your parents are dead.
Well, then you only have one option.
Yeah, and that
Become
means
Batman.
that's obviously
Yeah.
the easiest option. No, obviously becoming Batman is out of the question.
Well, hold on.
What
hold on.
powers do I get?
You can turn into a bat
Also, here's a totally
and be a
unrelated idea.
Batman.
Here's a totally unrelated idea. If you have a skeleton and you just gotta slip your penis in the pelvis,
No, Jeremy.
is that enough?
Please stop trying to work out the logistics of necrophilia live on air.
It's just, here's the thing. It feels like at that point, that's even easier than eating a fruit roll-up.
Again, you are appealing to a council of dark lords. I feel like they would be like,
It's called I'm gaming the system.
and I don't think they would like that very much.
Yeah, who gives a fuck? Give me my magic powers.
But they won't unless they like what you did.
Yeah, they're really into necrophilia, I guess. I'm like, yeah, I fucking used this skeleton I got out of the museum. Does that count?
No, probably not.
Are you implying that they're just into the grossness of it?
Yes, literally yes, because that's what makes it fucked up. And I want you to do something fucked up.
All
I
right.
don't get why this concept is hard.
I'm just trying to get cool magical powers.
So,
And you're over here being
so murder
like,
your brother.
but that, new plan. What if it's like a metaphorical brother? Someone I'd be like, yo, what's going on, brother? And then I just like stab him in the neck.
I think that actually does count if they're like genuinely very close to you, because you're supposed to murder someone close to you. It's just usually a sibling.
Can I like get someone to be my friend and then get really close to them and then kill them? And then I'd be like, well, I've never really been a huge fan of this
think
guy.
that would count. I think that you have to like have some stakes. Like you actually.
It's a council of dark fucking warlocks, buddy. You're not gonna game the system. Stop looking for loopholes in the eldritch horror.
Feels like they would be so impressed.
You would be the first one to die in every horror movie. And Adrian is a minority.
So second to die. So
Yeah, just give me the rest of the bullshit. I'm fucking done with this. This is bullshit. They're like, oh, I'm sorry, that wasn't taboo enough.
Yes! That's the point!
I just followed the thing to the letter.
So most often, they're seen to be taking the form of either coyotes, wolves, foxes, cougars, dogs, and bears. But in reality, they could take the shape of any animal they want. They then wear the skin of the animals they transform into, hence the name, Skinwalker. Sometimes they also wore animal skulls or antlers atop their heads, which supposedly brought them more power. They chose what animal they wanted to be turned into depending on the abilities needed for a particular task, such as speed, strength, endurance, stealth, claws, and teeth, etc. Sorry.
What, are you trying to fucking work out the logistics of this one too, Jeremy?
No.
Why can't you just enjoy a story?
You're like, it's fun! We're here to have fun! I wouldn't fucking want to be a part of a dark council that doesn't allow my introduction because I'm not good enough for them.
Literally the point.
Not inclusive enough is what I've been saying.
So because of all this, I'm not allowed to say Navajo, but
Danae.
Dene considered taboo for its members to wear the pelt of any predatory animal. However,
Really?
sheepskin, leather, and buckskin are acceptable.
See, that's actually interesting because I've heard of different accounts of skinwalkers taking the form of sheep, which I always thought was weird because they tend to be predatory animals.
So, finally yet, another theory, one that's tied up to creation myths, states that skinwalkers were once the helpers of divine beings. The Naglashi were agents of the holy people when they were first training humans in the blessing way. Naglashi were supposed to abandon the mortal world with the holy people, but a few decided to stay behind. Their greed and desire to stay in the mortal plane corrupted the power the holy people gave them and transformed them into malicious, semi-divine beings.
I'm just learning that the lore of skinwalkers is just the intro to a D&D campaign.
Essentially,
Like, holy
yes.
shit.
Yeah, essentially.
It's like being in a D&D campaign, but when you get to the end, they say, no, that wasn't good enough.
What D&D campaigns are you playing where you fuck a corpse?
Why don't you mind your own fucking business?
It does remind me of, I've tried to do a couple episodes on like weird shit that Hitler looked into.
Mm-hmm.
And I cannot tell you how many times I've been reading a story and be like, oh my God, this is fucking fascinating. I can't believe this actually happened. Just to get to the end of reading for like 20 minutes to be like, oh, it's the setup for a fucking D&D campaign.
Why are D&D campaigns having Hitler?
Well, it's not D&D. It's
just like any tabletop.
Yeah, like a tabletop.
Like a Chronicles of Darkness.
That's the one I'm thinking of. Yes, I'm pretty sure they're normally that. Or is that the Cthulhu one? What's the Cthulhu one?
That's called Cthulhu.
Yeah, Call of Cthulhu or Delta Green, depending on.
Okay.
So, apparently, skinwalkers. The way that you could tell that an animal is a skinwalker is that although they have, they appear to be an animal, they have the eyes of a human that turn bright red whenever you shine a light on them.
Yeah, that's like the weird thing that I always remember about skinwalkers because I don't know if I'd be able to tell the difference genuinely of like that's what a wolf's eyes look like or that's a wolf with human eyes.
I see what well, hold on. It says when it says the eyes, does it mean is it like a Pixar character where like its eyes are much more forward facing, or is it just the balls are different?
I have no idea. It just said like it has the eyes of humans.
Because if I saw a wolf, I wouldn't be getting up close enough to be like, are its eyes in like slits?
And that's kind of what I'm getting at. That's always been a weird thing to me. And to answer your previous question of the Pixar thing, or just like they're just different balls, I would imagine they're just different eyeballs because you have to remember this is ancient Dene folklore.
And they didn't have Pixar.
They didn't have Pixar. Yeah, no, that was on the other side of the continent.
Mm-hmm. They're just working too hard.
So it said that in addition to being able to shapeshift, skinwalkers are also able to control the creatures of the night. Sorry.
Oh, so they're like Aquaman for bears?
Essentially, yes.
Incredible.
Yeah, so they can control wolves, owls, and make them do their bidding.
Hell yeah.
Also, some of them are even able to call up spirits of the dead and reanimate corpses to attack their enemies.
Bro, I'm murdering one of you by the end of this podcast. These sound like sick powers.
Are you going to murder us, or is there an easier way?
I'm not fucking you, living or dead.
Yes, the classic sibling. We were born on the same day.
Basically siblings.
Twins.
Twinsies.
So its supernatural powers are uncanny, as they are said to run faster than a car, have the ability to jump high cliffs, and are extremely agile, impossible to catch, leave tracks that are larger than those of any animal, and when they have been seen, they have been described as not quite human and not fully animal.
Yeah, I was going to say they're kind of like simic hybrids, but for forest animals, where they can like go to like halfway, like the Animorph books, the meme of like middle image, where it's the one right in the middle of transformation. That's what a skinwalker is in my brain.
Essentially,
they're just the middle image of an Animorph.
Yes. Also, they are usually naked, but some have been reported to be seen wearing tattered shirts and jeans.
The tattered shirts and jeans walkers is what they're often called.
Yeah, I've heard that as well.
So today, most tales of these sightings of witches, which is what most modern
Sith
tribes,
Lords. Sith Lords.
They're not usually deadly. They're considered to be more like trickster-like.
Yeah, they like feed on fear.
Yes, exactly.
Is the thought.
Mm-hmm. Numerous people have told...
Wow, Loki, you're a skinwalker variant, Loki.
See, when I heard that was the first thing, like, oh, like a Loki. So
God of mischief.
Numerous people have told stories of swift animals running alongside their vehicles, matching their speeds. After short periods, however, they just run off into the wilderness.
Bro, could you imagine driving down a road and just seeing a fucking deer just run that 55 miles per hour next to your car?
Is that outside of the realm of deer running?
We'll figure that out.
It is, because apparently while they're doing this, sometimes they'll just turn into a man who like bangs on their windows and hoods and shit, and then turns back into the animal.
Yeah, that's terrifying.
I'm having a little bit of trouble.
A deer can run
a
maximum of 31 miles per hour, so it would be fucking nuts.
How do we know they're going like 50 miles an hour, though?
Well, because in my anecdote, I said 55 miles per hour.
Yeah, but I
am difficult and very, very good at derailing the conversation.
I don't know why you need to just be so mean all the time. You bring up one time that you say fucking a corpse is easier than murdering someone, and suddenly that's what you're known for.
So another story tells of a man who was making repairs on an old ranch home when he began to hear loud laughter coming from a nearby sheep pens. Thinking he was alone.
This is the story I know. Yeah.
Oh, well. Thinking he was alone, he went to investigate and found all the sheep but one huddled in one corner of the pen. However, there was a lone ram separated from the group that was standing upright and laughing in a very human manner. After the man locks eyes with the ram, he sees that his eyes are not that of an animal, but very like a human's. The animal then casually walked away on all four legs.
Yeah, it's fucking weird.
Yeah, it's crazy shit. Some say they have been seen running through the night, sometimes turning into a fiery ball, leaving streaks of color behind them.
All right, hold on 1 fucking second.
It feels like these
when
guys
did that get to be part of the power set?
When they made it more exclusive is what they did.
I hate you.
The more exclusive the group, the cooler the power set. They can't just let anyone in. Ooh! Right. It does feel like every time you describe these guys, you're like, and they have this power, and it's like, and they have lightning powers, and this guy turns into a motorcycle.
It sounds like little kids trying to walk.
Yeah, I was about to say it's like a 13-year-old role playing.
Yeah, essentially.
What's your power? Well, I murdered my mother. Oh, what power did you get from that? I can turn into a dragon. And it's like you can choose mythical animals.
But my power is that I shoot a laser beam that kills all dragons.
Which of the three did you do for that?
Just fucked a skeleton.
Just like, damn it! It was so much work for me.
Yeah, I only fucked a skeleton, so I got a very niche power that happens to work out very well in this instance.
And someone's like, I can turn into skeletons, and I'm just always fucking myself.
Every one of my fingers shoots a different beam that kills a different mythical creature.
So
my left middle finger
they can
kills
raise the
unicorns.
dead alongside like they can turn into animals, but then like they can also raise the dead.
Yeah, they
know.
like
Way cooler power.
Yeah. Oh my god. Right.
And they can fuck those guys. They just double their power up. They're like, what rank are you? Like, I'm rank 64 and over here.
You had the perfect opportunity to say rank 69, and you squandered
he's
it.
5 away.
You squandered
Some
it.
guy's like, I've killed every member of my family, and it's like, yeah, buddy, you're way behind this guy.
Look at this guy. He's like, what, level 7?
You can't even turn into the dragon.
Bro, bet this guy's never even seen a skeleton.
This podcast is going to just be, it's just like, I don't know how, and I don't know why, but we are put on a list after this.
Dude, we're going to get canceled before our careers even begin.
They're going to be like, they're really into fucking skeletons. They
Or we're
talk
gonna be
about
like,
it all the
Yeah,
time.
what about it?
And then we're going to be like, oh, it was a really bad idea to bring that up on the unrelated cryptid.
Man, it was really weird to talk about fucking skeletons on our
Bigfoot episode. The audience is just like, why would you bring that up?
So anyway, Bob Lazar once worked at Area 51 where he found a slew of skeletons just covered in semen.
And Bob Lazar was like a level 69.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
God.
Continue.
So, in the 1980s, one of the most notable events occurred when a family was driving through the Navajo reservation.
Dene.
It doesn't stick in my... It's not written down. Hang on.
Yeah, oh, you're just gonna like replace all words?
As they slowed to make a sharp curve, something jumped from the ditch. It was described as a black, hairy animal that wore shirts and pants. A few days after this event, at their home in Flagstaff, Arizona, the family was awakened by the sounds of loud drumming and chanting. Outside their home were 3 dark forms of men outside their fence. However, these shadowy figures were seemingly unable to climb the fence and just left.
They're seemingly unable to climb the fence.
Yeah.
I love the idea of them trying to climb the fence and being like, fuck this is too hard, man. I'm going home.
We're only level 7. Fences is level 9.
God damn it.
So skinwalkers are notoriously hard to kill, and attempts are usually unsuccessful. Trying to kill one will often result in the witch, Sith Lord, whatever, seeking revenge. Successfully killing generally requires the assistance of a powerful shaman who knows spells and rituals that can turn the skinwalker's evil back upon itself.
And where are you going to find someone like that?
I don't fucking know.
Let's say you had a sibling that was a skinwalker, and you killed that skinwalker.
I think you just become an even more powerful skin. I think you take their levels and absorb it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like that agar.io game where it's the bigger the skinwalker, and then when you eat that, you're like, yes! I've defeated a level 100. That puts me at 203.
So another alternative is to shoot the creature with bullets that have been dipped into white ash. However, this shot must hit the skinwalker in the neck or in the head.
I thought you were just going to end it there. It's like, however, this only works if you are able to hit the skinwalker.
I felt
Misses
like that was
do not count. Misses will not count. You can't just dip a bullet
That
in
actually
ash
just raises him a level.
Oh, that'll raise him a level.
So, last point. In the 1990s, a ranch in northeast Utah, far away from the Navajo reservation, became the partial focus of the skinwalkers. This ranch was called Sherman Ranch.
Okay, cool. I thought you were going to talk about Skinwalker Ranch, which has nothing to do with skinwalkers.
Or as it's otherwise known, Skinwalker Ranch.
It has nothing to do with skinwalkers.
What the fuck am I? What's happening? What's
So there's a place called Skinwalker Ranch
I imagine.
that calls themselves that. But the thing about Skinwalker Ranch is there was like one instance where like, yeah, I saw a skinwalker once. But then they also go on to be like, yeah, there's literally a UFO in the sky every fucking night, and we've seen aliens, and also fucking who's the famous cowboy who killed a bunch of people?
Wyatt Earp.
No, not that one.
Clint Eastwood.
Yeah.
Yeah, Clint
Is that
Eastwood
one right?
lived here once.
Jesse James?
That's the one. Jesse James lived here, and also we're built on an ancient burial ground. There's ghosts. Skinwalker Ranch is the most bullshit cryptid thing because they were like, Google cryptid, and they were like, all right, cool, I got a list of them. And they were like, which one do you want to be like the ranch of? And they were like, all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Their skinwalker was also like level 9, so who cares?
I hate you so much.
That's whatever level skinwalker.
So yeah, that's skinwalkers. And
How many times do you have, like, because you can commit incest many times. Like you're not, unlike killing someone.
The level thing we made up.
Yeah, but you think about it. You show up, you're like, I did it 9 times. I don't know why I held 3 up. We did it 9 times. The classic 3 per finger.
The thing is, this is an audio medium, so no one but us would have known you held up 3 fingers.
It's important that people know that the 3 fingers.
Yeah, transparency. Yeah,
Yeah.
I get it. I think the Dark Council would just be like, bro, fucking sick up top.
The Dark Council was probably like, you could have stopped at 1. Like, if anything, you're just a fucking weirdo now. Because
now it's just a kink.
Yeah, you're just like, yeah, but I'm level 9, right? I'm level 9. It's like, who fucking told you that? It's like, yeah, Jeremy told me that'd be level 9. And they were like, did he bring up the skeleton thing? It's like, yeah, he brought up the skeleton thing. And it was like, first of all, why didn't you try the skeleton thing first? Because that just feels way easier.
Like, well, Tyler told me that wouldn't work. And they're like, fucking stop talking to these people.
Who are they, experts on?
And then Adrian leaves the room because he was the one trying to become a skinwalker. That was the twist. It was Adrian the whole time.
They're like, you're taking advice from the guy who calls us the skin changers. Which everyone knows is our knockoff brand.
Yeah, everyone knows we're Sith Lords. And he pulls out his lightsaber.
And the guy is like, I didn't know he had that. I'm only level 1.